I've been saying it again and again, time after time, video after video, podcast after podcast, but I'm going to say it again. Control 2 finna be a masterpiece. And why do I know this? Because I trust Remedy. I love Remedy. I love Control. I love Alan Wake. And I love what we have seen and heard from Control Resonant. The game has been getting trailers like crazy. The game has been getting information, hands-on previews, details, interviews, all these things. They are leading up to a game that I think is going to be truly epic and one of the best games of the generation because they're trying things new. They're doing things that are already amazing that Remedy does. And they're going in this universe with this story that is so interesting and so well developed up until this point. I just don't see this game being anything other than phenomenal, and I believe this is going to be a special, special game, and I have a lot to talk about, so let's get to it. Welcome back to Player Away, Johnnymmer here, and today we get to talk about my most anticipated game currently, Control Resonant, being developed by Remedy Entertainment, my favorite studio right now. Man, they have been cooking for a few years now for a couple titles with Control, with Alan Wake 2. Man, this game, I'm so excited to talk about Control Resonant. I think this game has amazing potential, and I just have so much faith and confidence in what Remedy can do, especially with all these trailers and everything we've heard about this game. It truly seems like it is going to be a special, special game, and I've been saying it for a while. I think this game is going to be a masterpiece. I really do. And so I have so many details and so many interviews and hands-on previews to talk about because this game has been getting a lot of hands-on previews at Summer Games Fest. And so I just think there's a lot that we need to talk about. I also just look at Remedy a little bit and some of their just statistics in terms of like sales and things like that. So let's go ahead and get into it. If you guys love gaming, this is the place to be. Doesn't matter what you love. Doesn't matter what platform, genre, company y'all support. If you love video games, this is the place to be. We love gaming. That's why we have this platform. We want to talk about it. We want to share that. Appreciate all support. Leave a like. Leave a comment. What's your hype level for Control Resonant? And subscribe. Share with your friends. Appreciate all of that. But let's get into it with Control Resonant. Alan Wake 2 is my third favorite game of all time. And it has been ever since that first time I played it. The game absolutely blew all my expectations out the water in terms of gameplay, in terms of storytelling, in terms of narrative, music, visuals, just performance. Like everything about that game is what a video game should be to me. And I have adored Remedy ever since. Control is a game I absolutely love. Maybe not quite to the extent of Alan Wake 2, but I love Control so much. And I've been waiting for the continuation of the Remedy-verse. As you guys know, Control and Alan Wake 2 and the Alan Wake games all take place in the same universe. And they've been building to something huge. And that is what's so exciting about Control Resonant, is that we're getting another chapter of this world, that this universe that they're building into. We're going to get crossovers. We're going to get so many cool things hinting at where do we go next? When are we finally going to have that big moment where it all just collides? All these different storylines, all these different characters just collide. I'm so excited to see where that goes. And Control Resonant is the next step in that, and I can't wait. But what's so interesting is the more I've seen this game, the more I've heard about this game, it really does seem like they are focusing on making this its own game first. They're not making this game just for the crossovers, not just to expand the universe, but they have a story to tell. They have a character in Dylan that they want to share, and they have a gameplay system that they want to play with. And I think that's what's really interesting. I think that's what's going to make this game actually good. Yes, it'll be fun and exciting to get a game where they mash up all these different characters and storylines, and we have that big crossover. But if they have a vision for a game, and they can thoroughly seek out and deliver that vision and execute it well, like Control Resonant, with this gravity-shifting gameplay, with Dylan as a new main protagonist, then I think they are onto something special. And so we're going to kind of look at a bunch of different bullet points throughout a lot of these different things that I've found and just talk about it. So let's go ahead and get started with the first bullet point: biggest gameplay team in Remedy history for deeper RPG systems, more weapon types, and more abilities. Combat is more open with more verticality, unlike the locked-in rooms of the first game. Shifting gravity mechanics sets the gameplay apart. I knew when I saw it that we have something really unique and exciting here. All right, let's just start with that. They're going big. They're going big, and I'm gonna go to this last bullet point way at the bottom, because I think this shares everything we're gonna be talking about to a much greater extent. This bullet point says, and this is coming from one of the developers, story has always been at the center of Remedy games, but when it comes to the second-to-second combat and traversal, we've really gone to town with the gameplay. Yeah, I think, you know, it's no secret. The thing Remedy is always the best at is its story, is its writing, at its world development, at its lore, world building, all that stuff. But what happens when they take a game, put it in this already established world and story that they have, but they focus on making this a gameplay-centric game, an action game? What happens? Well, Control Resonant is the answer to that, and it looks sick. It looks awesome. So, yeah, biggest gameplay team in Remedy history. Doesn't surprise me. They need to hire more combat experts. They need to hire more mobility experts. They need to get a bigger team to fully realize and develop this combat system that they have in this game. So I absolutely see it. They're going for deeper RPG systems. You know people are going to love that. They're going for more weapon types. We love that. More abilities. We love that. Combat is more open with more verticality. Man, I've seen some clips of hands-on previews where, dude, it is the most insane visuals, most insane set pieces and environments, and they're just jumping from wall to wall, roof to roof, enemy to enemy, grapple hooking, switching weapons, doing different abilities. There's so much going on. There's so much variety and uniqueness to it. And yeah, it has to do with this gravity mechanic that is setting the gameplay apart. Even Sam Lake was like, I knew it when I saw it, that we have something really unique and exciting here. And I just can't wait to try it for myself. Like, I don't even know how this is going to feel yet. I've just seen trailers and I've heard people talk about it. I don't even know how this is going to feel on the controller in my hands. It's going to be special. It's going to be something I remember forever. But let's go ahead and continue. The Aberrant, which is Dylan's weapon that we've seen in the game, kind of like this like metal like pole, whatever. The Aberrant can switch between many different forms as you progress through the game. You can choose which form you want at the start of the game. Both the Hiss and the Mold have evolved as threats with more complexity and more enemy variety. The world is much more open, although not fully open world. Grapple hook up to buildings and other vantage points. Alright. I love what they're going for with this weapon. It is this like very unique just piece of material that can basically form and shape into any kind of like weapon. We've seen swords, we've seen katanas, we've seen hammers, we've seen spears, we've seen like just so many wild and crazy things that this thing can transform into. I cannot wait to see the extent at which they go with this. And so I kind of like, they say you can choose which form you want at the start of the game. So I'm assuming you can start with one, then you unlock more as you go. So I think that's really interesting. And then they're talking about enemy variety here. I think that is something that definitely Remedy does need to improve on from some of their previous games. And there's another bullet point in this next piece that I'm going to read, so I'll just go ahead and read this right here. Each region has several factions fighting for control. Awesome. Yeah, that is exactly what you want to hear when in terms of enemy variety. There's going to be multiple factions, different type of enemies. All that sounds great. The world is much more open, although not fully open world. Great. Do not go open world. These games do not need to be open world, but in an action game like this, action and adventure game, you do need some exploration. So having open areas and things like that, exploring with environments, being able to jump and grapple around the place, I think is also a must for a game like this. So also really, really great. And also just having a grapple hook, that tells you there's going to be some satisfying and fun little traversal going around the place. And man, I just want to sit here and just talk for a second. The visuals in this game, I am almost willing to bet that this game wins Best Art Direction this year. Because the things that we are seeing in some of these environments, the upside-down cities, the crazy hallways, the awesome arenas where you're seeing some of the boss designs, character designs, weapon designs, it's just stunning. It's mind-blowing, truly mind-blowing, and that's what Remedy strives for in every game, just to create these mind-blowing concepts that just impress you in every single turn. So let's go ahead, let's talk about a couple more bullet points here. Multiple save slots confirmed for separate playthroughs. Cool. always give players more options. Always a great thing. We're going to go here. Like I said, enemy variety has been greatly increased from after feedback from Control. Manhattan is more of a lived-in world where multiple factions are trying to gain control. Dylan has a radio, which he can use to report things he sees around the city. Audio logs have been added, which play in the background. Enemies have been fully motion captured. One of the enemies is a haunted bus, which has to be animated. Okay. Art style has shifted to a more grounded, believable style so that the paranormal aspects can truly shine. The world has more of a lived-in history compared to just being a bureau site under lockdown. All right. There's a lot to go over here. So, number one, I like what they're talking about in terms of like exploration and stuff where you have audio logs and he has a radio where he can report things. It's just going to make it so much more immersive. There's going to be way more world building and lore, which some people absolutely love. I love the fact like they're talking about how the art style has shifted from to more grounded to a believable style so that all the things that aren't very believable really stick out and you're like, whoa, that looks wild. That looks crazy. You're just in this city, and next thing you know, you're just gonna see a big, like, paranormal, crazy thing you never would have thought you've seen, and it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. It's gonna be awesome. So Remedy just knows again how to mix visual with storytelling and the narrative and the world building. It's gonna be great, man. Enemies have been fully motion captured. You'll love to hear that. Yeah, there's just so much. There's so much here that is so exciting. There is a trailer that was played at Summer Games Fest, like this week, yesterday, at the time of recording this yesterday, but when you guys are seeing the video, it will not have been yesterday. It's been a little while now. But that trailer, man, was just so awesome. It was just so awesome. Like, this is a game, obviously, from the moment it's been announced, it's been one of my most anticipated games. Since some other games have come out, it is now my most anticipated game, easily. And this is one where every time I see it, every time I hear about it, every time people talk to me about it, I just get more and more excited and more confident in it because I see what the vision they're going for, and I see the potential, and I see the opportunity for this to be something truly special. I've been saying it, Control 2 finna be a masterpiece, and I really do believe this. This is not just a bit that I keep saying. I truly do believe this will be a masterpiece. And this most recent trailer might be my favorite trailer for the game since the initial reveal. That initial reveal trailer was just so hype and so cool. But the music specifically that was in this trailer is a bop, man. It is a banger. Like, I saw someone being like, yo, Herald of Darkness may have some competition, which was the hit song from Alan Wake 2 where they did the dance and everything. And yeah, man, this song is such a banger. It's so fun. It has some energy to it. It's so unique and different. Like, I could just see this being like this song going viral. And then they're just showing all these bosses and all these environments and all these different scenes and combat things and abilities. That's something we haven't even talked about. There's like, Dylan has a lot of magical abilities, like supernatural abilities that he can do too. Like, he has like, basically he has the like force. He's like force pushing things and force pulling and creating all these shockwaves around the place. Like, this game is so cool in concept. If they can just deliver, if they can just stick the landing and execute this to a level that I believe they will be, I'm going to be so happy. The key art looks sick. Trailers, all of them have really been great. But now we get to some of the hands-on previews. Talk about execution. Talk about, can they deliver? Talk about, how does it feel? Well, we might have some answers. Now, granted, previews are never the end-all be-all. They're never solidified. Everything they're saying here is how they're exactly going to feel when the game comes out. But they give you somewhat of an idea. And so I have a bunch of previews here from people that have spent roughly 2.5 to 3 hours playing the opening hours of the game. Let's read through them. Game Informer. We spent time playing the early hours of Control Resonant, and we're eager to embrace its switch to stylish melee action with open arms. From Dice and Easy. My time with Control Resonant can be summed up simply: if I had been left with the game for the rest of the day, I wouldn't have stopped playing it until they dragged me out. Polygon. After 2.5 hours, Control Resonant is my most anticipated action game of the year. VGC. Control Resonant's gravity shifting combat sold me after just one hands-on session. Game Ramp. There was one boss that was phenomenal. And I have one more here coming from Eurogamer. Control Resonant is how video games should be done. Yo. If we got Polygon, Eurogamer, VGC, Game Rant, Game Informer, all of these big, very substantial video game outlets saying things like this, and they've only just scratched the surface. Yeah, we might be onto something, ladies and gentlemen. We might be onto something. Will it be a masterpiece for everybody? No, there's no way. If you do not have a personal connection to this game, if you don't have a personal connection to Remedy or action games like this or horror, things like this, then yeah, it'll be really hard for you to say this game is a masterpiece. But I think for what this game is going for, I think for Remedy fans, I truly do think this is going to be Remedy's best game. And that's coming from somebody whose Alan Wake 2's is their third favorite game of all time. I just see the potential. I see the vision. I see the hype. I see the excitement from people everywhere. I think this is going to be, for sure, the most fun. I think this is going to be the coolest. The question is, can Dylan be as good of a protagonist as Alan Wake, as Saga, as Jesse? Can the gameplay be as interesting as Alan Wake survival horror, as Control's superhero kind of like elements? Can the visuals be just as stunning and just as creative as the other games? Can the music be just as diverse and unique as the other games? Well, I kind of have to wait and see, but everything we've seen has been leading me to say this one phrase over and over and over again. I'm going to say it one last time this video, but I'm going to be saying it a lot more times in the months and weeks to come. I truly do believe Control 2 is finna be a masterpiece. I cannot wait to play this game come September 24th. It does have 2-day early access if you get it on PlayStation. But that's going to do it for this video, y'all. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, leave a like in the comment section down below provided. What are your hype levels for Control Resonant? Love to talk about it. I love the theory craft, whatever you want to say. See you in the next one. Johnnymmer out. Peace.